Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, April 18th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com over the past week. First up, this past Monday, I reported that there might be a Google Panda refresh or some type of big update going on. It seems to be the case that a lot of people are actually complaining about a lot of fluctuations over the past weekend or so. However, and the fluctuations are still going on, however, Google told us in a statement saying they checked with the team who would be responsible with this, and there's nothing that they're aware of specifically around that. So there probably was no Panda update or software update or anything going on specifically around that. It might just be a widespread link thing, or it might be nothing and people are just panicking. Also, Facebook unveiled a new spam algorithm to target 3 types of spam things, where in the news feed specifically, 1 is link baiting, 2 is frequently circulated content, and 3 is spammy types of links that encourage people to actually click on links based off of wrong types of language. So it's interesting to see Facebook now getting into major spam fighting as well. Google's Matt Cutts posted a video yesterday or the day before talking about the biggest SEO myths that he sees, and we've seen this where he busts myths all the time, but this video is around the biggest ones he's seen, and he said one myth is basically how ads and their influence on organic results. He's saying no, buying ads doesn't improve your rankings. 2, not buying ads doesn't improve your rankings either. And no, Google does not make changes to their algorithms based off of people encouraging people to buy ads. And 2, in terms of another thing, is that quick fixes to break the algorithm don't work. He says 1 is he dislikes when he sees groupthink in forums, specifically Black Hat forums, he said, where one person says, hey, tactic X works now, and they all go run and do tactic S, and then 3 months later they do a different tactic, either link building, article directories, or guest blogging, or link wheels and stuff like that. So he's saying, and also specific tools do not work. He's like, you can't just buy a tool and expect it to work. If somebody knew a trick, they would use it themselves and capitalize it as much as they can. So those are the 2 myths that he hates the most. Google's shopping results seem to be now in the knowledge graph, and as you can see over here, this is where the knowledge graph carousel is usually. You can see it says sponsored, and now it's showing product listings. I personally don't see it. I personally see this where it's off to the side, but Pete Myers actually sees it over here from Moz. So it's interesting to see that ads are actually taking over the knowledge graph. We did a lot of polls this week because I was offline for Passover. I will be again offline on Monday and Tuesday, so I'll try to prepare as much as possible to give you information from polls and whatever that I can to give it to you, since I'll be offline. And anybody who's watching, happy Passover. That being said, here's a poll that we ran. Were you impacted by Penguin 2.1? 70% said they had a major drop. 17% said they had no change. 6% they had an increase in rankings. And 7% actually said they recovered from Penguin 2.0 or previous Penguin updates. We had a lot of responses on that. We had over 2,800 responses on that poll. So again, I would take the poll with a grain of salt because only those who took it were probably impacted. 65% said they prefer manual action over an algorithmic action. We asked, what if you had to have a penalty by Google, would you prefer it to be an algorithm? And obviously, algorithms are not technically penalties, but they can lead into motions in your rankings. Or would you prefer to have a manual action that was done by a thing? And most people said, 65% said they'd rather have a manual action because they have something actionable they can do on that, whereas with a penalty, it's hard to go ahead and do that. 13% claim the disavow tool did not work for them. Is another poll we ran. We asked, did Google's disavow tool work for you? And obviously, again, take this with a grain of salt, but 50% said no, 37% said they had no idea, and 13% said yes, it did work for them. Another poll. This is an interesting one. Does Google lie to webmasters? We asked you, do you think Google lies to you? And the responses were 57% said yes, 100% they lie to us. 33% said they lie to us, but only sometimes. And 10% said no, Google does not lie to us. Here's a new thing. So if you noticed, yesterday, Google Analytics started to change the terminology used for visits, which they now call sessions, and unique visitors is now called users. So you see over here, sessions is now visits. Same thing over here. New visits are now sessions. Pages versus sessions. Again, visits are now sessions, and users is replaced unique visitors. So unique visitors is now users. That's something you should see in your analytics report. It doesn't really change anything except for the terminology used. Google's John Mueller asked earlier this week, how would you use Google Webmaster Tools API? What features do you want in it? What do you want to build? Tell us about what you want to do with Google Webmaster Tools API, and we'll consider building it. So definitely, if you haven't seen this post, go to it April 15th at SEOroundtable.com. Go to the Google Plus thread and tell Google, John Mueller, how you would use the API and what they should do. The next thing is Google announced earnings this week. This is their missed targets for the first time in a long time. The interesting trend you see is not just that the cost per click has been going down, meaning that the cost for each click is actually going down for a user. It's more about, for the first time in a while, their number of clicks, the number of clicks on ads has gone down from the previous quarter. Every quarter that goes up, meaning number of people clicking on ads goes up and up and up because more people are searching, more people are clicking on ads. That number actually went down 1% for the first time in I can't remember how long, where the number of people clicking on ads has actually gone down. So Google said, yeah, it's better that our CPC prices decrease as long as people find those ads relevant and they're willing to click more. But it seems like people are clicking less, at least in the past quarter, which is interesting. And finally, Google released XE16 for Google Glass, which is basically their latest version of the Glass OS operating system. It supports KitKat. It's actually running off KitKat now, which is the latest version of Android, and has a lot more features, photo bundles. It has send the message with a photo, smarter homepage, a lot of other things as well. You can see some pictures over here, but anyway, it's pretty cool. It came over the weekend. It came over yesterday or 2 days ago, and it seems a bit faster for me. It seems a little quicker, and Google's able to do much more updates than that. Anyway, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz, and this is the search news we covered over the Search Engine Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com. Again, today is Friday, April, I think, 18th. And everyone have a great weekend. I'll be offline again for Passover on Monday and Tuesday. And anybody celebrating, have a great Passover. And I'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Bye.